afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to This Is Now. At least 6 construction workers are still believed to be in the water at the site of a bridge collapse in the port of Baltimore.
Yeah, search efforts continue as federal investigators are at the scene. Ryan Hughes has the latest.
Search and rescue efforts for missing construction workers are still underway after the stunning collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in the middle of the night. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and the NTSB are here at the scene.
And what they're going to look at and begin to collect is information on vessel operations, safety history, safety record.
The whole bridge just fell down.
Video shows the moment a massive container ship struck support pillars of the critical overpass. John Zafia is a crane operator at the port and felt the impact from his nearby home.
Just like an aftershock of an earthquake and a loud explosion.
The crew aboard the 974-foot vessel notified state officials the ship had lost propulsion and that hitting the bridge was possible.
There's a ship approaching. It just lost their steering.
Maryland's governor says that heads up helped save lives.
We're thankful that between the Mayday and the collapse that we had officials who were able to begin to stop the flow of traffic.
12 million vehicles crossed Baltimore's Key Bridge last year, and the port itself handled a record amount of cargo. It's not closed until further notice. President Biden promised federal aid.
It's my intention that the federal government will pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge.
The president said 15,000 jobs depend on that port. That includes Zafia's.
That's going to affect all of our work down there.
Officials say the bridge was fully up to code. Ryan Hughes, CBS News, Baltimore County, Maryland.
Authorities are searching for an inmate who was reported missing from the Laumaka Work Furlough Center. According to the State Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, work furlough inmate Keenan Asia failed to return to the facility on Monday. The 28-year-old left around 8 p.m. on a job-seeking pass and was reported after he failed to return by 2:30 p.m. Asia is serving time for first-degree burglary and unauthorized entry into a motor vehicle. Anyone with information should call 911 or state sheriffs at 808-586-1352. A vigil will take place this evening to honor the 3 children lost in the Oda family murders in Manoa. They are 17-year-old Sakurako, 12-year-old Orion, and 10-year-old Nana. Communities from the Manoa School Association of Parents and Teachers, Sikhs Charter School, and Iolani School are invited to gather and heal together. The vigil today is at the Waikiki Shell. It's set to begin at 6:30 and goes until 7:45. Doors will open at 6 p.m. Free parking will be available. We want to bring you a correction to a story involving 2 HPD officers linked to a manslaughter probe. The officers used force to make the arrest of a 77-year-old man who later died. Last week, we incorrectly reported HPD Chief Logan called the force excessive. Logan actually said physical force was used and stressed the investigation is ongoing. This is now regrets the error. For the latest on this story, head to our website or news app. On Hawaii Island, police have charged Clayton Saragosa with what they call a heinous crime of child abuse. Officers arrested the 31-year-old Saturday in Mountain View. Police say a 2-year-old girl in his custody suffered a broken rib and leg and was also burned, starved, and denied water. She's now receiving treatment on Oahu at Kapi'olani Medical Center. 2 of Saragosa's sons are now in the custody of Child Welfare Services. 2 others are now staying with their mother. Police are still investigating if the little girl's mother played a role, but at last check, she remained free. A judge denied Saragosa's supervised release and maintained bail at $85,000. He's due back in court on Thursday. In Eva Beach, community is in shock and mourning the loss of 2 bicyclists who were struck and killed on Fort Weaver Road on Sunday. As our Jolani Martinez reports, they're joined by bicycling advocates who are calling for safer roads.
Neighbors I spoke with who knew the couple say they were just going about their daily routine when they were hit by a car at the intersection.
It's just hard, you know. It's like we lost a family member in our neighborhood.
Kahealani Lakalo says she's been neighbors with 62-year-old Naomi Myers and 75-year-old James Rowland for nearly a decade.
We'd see them every day. Like, they're so active, beautiful couple, like just the sweetest spirits, sweetest souls around. Yeah. And my son saw them leaving in the morning, not knowing we'd never see them again. You know what I mean? It's just hard. It's really hard. Yeah, I had a hard time sleeping last night.
But every morning I would pretty much see them either get on their bikes together, and I thought it was so cute because they would always go bike riding, or they would put their kayak in the truck and go kayaking.
Police say a 20-year-old driver lost control of his vehicle on Iroquois Road, hit a utility pole, then plowed into the couple who were in a marked crosswalk. The driver has not been arrested, but is facing negligent homicide charges.
That's scary. The intersection is scary. You know, and you're in the crosswalk and you're still not safe.
Police say speed appears to be a factor in the crash. Neighbors say drivers are frequently rushing down the road to avoid getting stuck at the light.
So people want to get to their destination, so they run the red light and they don't want to wait.
You're sitting there for like 5 minutes, and that's why people are like, I want to hurry up and get through this.
This intersection, we could have predicted an accident was going to happen here just by the road design. And that's why we're calling on the governor, his Department of Transportation, the mayor, and HPD to enforce the public safety laws that we have.
DOT says it'll continue to work on speed management and safety improvements statewide. The city and state supports adding speed enforcement cameras.
But ultimately, it's lives on the line. And so we want to roll it out slowly, figure out how to do it right, and make sure that it's something that is going to reduce speeding and stop those bad apples that are, killing people.
That's a great start. That would be good. I mean, that's definitely an intersection that needs it.
Senator Kurt Favela, who represents the area, says after this tragedy, he plans to meet with transportation officials on how to make this roadway safer. Reporting from Eva Beach, Jelani Martinez, Hawaii News Now.
The Honolulu City Council approved a multi-million-dollar settlement nearly 3 years after a police chase and crash in Makaha. Jonathan Perkins Sinapati, the driver of the white sedan officers are accused of improperly chasing, will receive $12.5 million to end his civil suit. It's one of the largest settlements ever involving HPD. He suffered severe brain damage and other injuries in the crash on Farrington Highway in September of 2021. 4 police officers are accused of either causing the crash or trying to cover it up.
We wanted to make sure justice was done for my client, and justice was done for the city and county, the taxpayers. And I think Jonathan has some quality of life left. It's a terrible brain injury. And, it's tough when your children, as they get older, have to take care of their parent. And that's what's going to happen.
3 of the 4 officers facing criminal charges, Joshua Nahulu, Eric Smith, and Jake Bartolome, were fired by the department last month, but are appealing the decision. They and another officer, Robert Lewis, are scheduled to go to trial this summer. They have all pleaded not guilty.
Cell phone videos of a woman being fired from an engineering firm were shown to jurors hearing the case against the firm's executives and former city prosecutor Keith Kaneshiro. The videos show Laurel Mao, an architect at Mitsunaga and Associates, being escorted out in 2011. The government says this was the beginning of a targeted attack against Mao, who sued the firm for discrimination. Firm leaders are accused of trying to use campaign contributions to bribe Kaneshiro into filing criminal charges against Mao.
I think Mr. Weed is showing this because the filming of her walking out to the car is actually kind of excessive. The animosity that the Mitsunaga firm had towards her, because this is the beginning, this is the setup to what follows for the years to come, which is them fighting her on every step.
The defendants have all pleaded not guilty. Trial continues Wednesday. Hawaiian Electric is asking all Hawaii Island customers to help conserve energy through April because of tight supply. HECO says it's an unusual situation driven mainly by the unavailability of several large generators that have had mechanical problems. Customers, including hotels and businesses, are urged to reduce electricity use as much as possible, especially between 5 and 9 p.m. on weekdays. If there is not enough energy supply to meet demand, HECO says it may initiate rolling outages of up to an hour. Now to those stunning federal raids of the homes of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. A source close to the investigation told NBC News that the raids are connected to an investigation of allegations of sex trafficking. Emily Ikeda has the latest.
Overnight, heavily armed federal authorities staging coordinated coast-to-coast raids at properties belonging to music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Homeland Security investigations team seen descending on his multi-million-dollar home in Los Angeles, going room to room and hauling away boxes. Across the country, more investigators swarmed the rapper's property in a wealthy section of Miami, appearing to carry out a laptop. Multiple sources tell NBC News Combs was in Miami during the searches and had several phones seized before he was scheduled to leave for a trip to the Bahamas.
The speed at which it appears these raids were conducted suggests that agents were concerned that they needed to secure evidence quickly and prevent anyone from destroying evidence before they got there.
The raids, which lasted into the night, carried out on search warrants out of New York connected to an investigation into allegations of sex trafficking, according to a source familiar with the matter. The source also telling NBC News multiple witnesses have been interviewed by prosecutors and investigators in relation to Combs, who is facing an onslaught of civil lawsuits alleging sexual assault, sex trafficking, and the illegal distribution of guns and drugs. Among his accusers, Rodney Little Rod Jones, a music producer who originally filed a lawsuit against Combs in February. Jones alleged that Combs forced him to procure sex workers and pressured him to engage in sex acts with them. Now, Jones has amended that civil suit after the raid, adding Oscar-winning actor Cuba Gooding Jr. as a defendant, alleging that Gooding groped Jones while on Combs' yacht. Representatives for Gooding did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Another prominent accuser, former longtime partner and R&B singer Cassie.
Cassie, for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
Last November, she accused Combs of physically and sexually abusing her for years. The case was settled a day after the civil suit was filed for an undisclosed amount. Combs' attorney adding that the settlement was in no way an admission of wrongdoing.
The abortion issue is once again before the U.S. Supreme Court. Today, justices heard oral arguments in a case that could limit access to mifepristone, a commonly used abortion drug that's been prescribed for decades. A group of anti-abortion doctors leading the legal challenge claims the FDA didn't adequately evaluate the drug's safety risks and wants the High Court to limit access, even in states where abortion remains legal. Justices appeared skeptical of the challenge the anti-abortion doctors made.
They're saying because we object to having to be forced to participate in this procedure, we're seeking an order preventing anyone from having access to these drugs at all.
The FDA says the pill has been safe and effective since its approval in the year 2000. And the pharmaceutical industry is cautioning undermining the FDA's approval process would not stop at mifepristone. The Supreme Court is allowing full access to the drug while the legal proceedings play out. Former President Donald Trump will have to watch what he says about the hush money trial he is facing next month. The judge overseeing the case in New York issued a gag order today that will limit Trump from making statements about potential witnesses in the trial involving hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels weeks before the 2016 presidential election. The judge also said Trump can't make or cause others to make public statements about attorneys, court staff, or the family members of prosecutors or lawyers. The trial is set to begin April 15th. A recent settlement with the National Association of Realtors is said to be a win for home buyers. The landmark legal decision could even bring down home prices. Casey Lund has new reaction.
Aloha from Oahu's North Shore. That $418 million settlement from the National Association of Realtors, according to both realtors and people in the consumer affairs world, many feel it could make the home buying process more transparent, the way commissions are disclosed on both sides. I want to read a statement from the Honolulu Board of Realtors. The CEO, Suzanne Young, says, while the settlement may change some of the ways we do business, our commitment to support our members and serve as housing advocates, good neighbors, and community builders remains. Nearly Currently, 90% of home buyers and sellers choose to work with a realtor. We're confident consumers will continue to see the value of working with an agent to guide them in what is typically the most significant financial decision that one makes in a lifetime. I'm here with Bill Ward from Corcoran Pacific. How do you feel about that statement? That kind of sums up your sentiments?
It truly does. Yeah, I very much support what Suzanne said there. You know, we continue to fine-tune our industry, and this is one of them. This is one where we make the process more transparent, even that much more so on the buyer side, in a way that wasn't previously done. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes you sit down with a client on a listing appointment, and they go through the whole process, and they understand things a bit more, and also negotiation is possible with commissions. Buyer side has not always known that. So that is where I think the big change is going to come, and I think it's a good thing.
And we expect that final decision to be signed off by the judge in July, correct?
Correct, yeah. Somewhere between now and July, the judge will sign off on the settlement, yes.
I want to ask you too, Bill, since I have you up here.
Sure.
What is the sort of temperature of the market in Hawaii right now? We've been through just so much crazy, the pandemic, now we're a few years removed from that. Where are we right now? And give us a snapshot of the market.
Sure. The last year and a half, we've had everybody know the market's kind of slowed down a bit, with interest rates rising quickly as high as they did from the low, mid-2s to 7+%, even close to 8. They've stabilized now. The Fed chair basically saying this next year, it's going to be slow, but the rates will come down. Over the last 3 or 4 months, we've seen a significant rise in business, probably 30-40%. It looks like, the inventory is still low, the demand is there. With confidence that the rates are going to stay stable, we're seeing a lot more activity now.
Very good. Bill Ward with us from Corcoran Pacific. Appreciate your time. And as you said, that decision would take effect in July. And Bill's telling us that he doesn't see any huge impacts that might come from that right away, hopefully making the entire process of buying a home more transparent for everyone. Reporting on the North Shore, I'm Casey Lunn. For now, we send things back to you.
Thank you so much, Casey. Let's send you live outside to Hilo, Hawaii. This is the live camera at the Pacific Tsunami Museum. Ashley, can you believe Merry Monarch is next week?
I know you're very excited.
Oh
Dylan.
my goodness. We're going to have so much fun in Hilo. Stay with us right after this short break. We are going to have more on the Merry Monarch preparations.
How's it on this Tuesday? There's a passing disturbance up to the north. It's basically pushing away that high pressure fan a little bit and weakening the trade winds just a skosh, because they'll still be running at steady speeds today. Now this morning we do have some windward and Mauka showers coming in, but those showers are on the move, so rainfall totals will be limited. Still a little soggy to start for some windward neighborhoods this morning. Drier conditions are expected to take over by noontime, if not a little bit sooner. And those winds will run at steady speeds today, especially windy over on Kauai. Lighter winds, of course, over on the Kona side. So Tuesday's going to be nice. Again, we're going to start out a little soggy, a little damp, mainly for windward neighbors, but it's not a lot of rain. And then drier by lunchtime, especially for leeward sides. High temperatures today getting into the middle 80s. It's going to be a beautiful day today. Now, the surf's going to be beautiful as well. It was big. It was dangerous. It was on fire yesterday, but it's on the way down. Still got some great waves up in the country. Most spots will be working very well today, but this swell is on the way down. No significant swells coming anytime soon. However, east shores will be picking up as those winds pick up, because trade winds are expected to get quite brisk and breezy starting tomorrow, holding firm through Saturday. So one of the consequences of those stronger winds, the bigger east swell. So maybe even high surf advisory level waves for east shores. Other than that, we're going to see a typical trade wind weather pattern with windward and Mauka showers throughout the time period, passing through from time to time. Slight increase in those showers. Leeward sides will still offer a fair bit of sunshine, high temperatures into the mid to lower 80s, and these winds will eventually slow down the first part of next week.
Well, we are just over 1 week away from the first performances on the Merry Monarch stage at the famous Edith Kanaka Ole Stadium. The famous Merry Monarch stage is set, the chairs are laid out, and the halau have already taken part in stage rehearsals. This year, festival president Auntie Luana Kavelu says the roughly 4,200 tickets went lightning fast, and they even had to turn away people whose requests were postmarked on the first day that sales opened. Now, despite that, she says they're excited to welcome an international audience.
This year we had a lot of requests from Aotearoa. Usually we get requests, but not that many. We had 11 trays of letters, requests that came in from the post office, and they're huge trays. I think we have about 450 in each tray. And of the 11, 8 were postmarked December 1st. So we couldn't even get to complete all of December 1st requests. So some people are not happy, but we try our best to do what we can.
Auntie Luana says there weren't as many requests from Japan and Europe, only to find out there was an issue with international money orders and cashier's checks. She said they're working to find a solution for next year. Now, this year's festival is already completely sold out, but looking forward to next year, if you want to go to Merry Monarch, Auntie Luana offered some tips on improving your chances.
Many people find out the hard way. Don't put your request in the mailbox outside, because those requests go to Oahu and are postmarked on the 2nd. So our recommendation is to stand in line, to get to the counter and have them hand stamped.
Now, next year only, ticket requests will actually open on December 2nd because December 1st falls on a Sunday. The festival will be sticking with their old-fashioned mail-in process for acquiring tickets because they say it helps keep the playing field fair, especially for the less tech-savvy kupuna who may find difficulties with online sales. Now, from the craft fairs to the competitions and everything in between, stick with your Hawaii News Now team. We are your Merry Monarch station. We'll be bringing you all of the Merry Monarch fun, both on air and online, come next week.
Agricultural inspections at the Hilo and Kona airports will be beefed up during next week's Merry Monarch Festival. Taking ohia from Hawaii Island is not allowed. That includes flowers and any cuttings or soils which can't be transported without a permit. That quarantine has been in place since 2015 to stop the spread of rapid ohia death. The state says there's no ban on picking Hawaii Island ohia, but it cannot travel off the island. If it was picked in Honolulu and taken to Hawaii Island, it has to stay there.
It's making sure that, people really are aware of, what's at stake and, what they can do to really, prevent the spread of this terrible disease throughout the state.
Monarch Travel Week, the Department of Agriculture says it intercepted 31 lepo'o or head lei at the Hilo airport last year. 12 were intercepted at the Kona airport.
On the next Spotlight now, we focus in on tourism as the Maui economy continues to rebuild and the vital role tourism plays in that role.
Mufi Hanneman from HLTA along with Jeff Wagner from Outrigger are our guests. Join us live at 1 on K5.
All right, let's end with some good news. So we talk about a lot of weird things that go up for auction,
We
but
sure
listen
do.
to this. You have a chance to lay near 2 Hollywood icons for eternity.
Ooh.
That's right. Bids for a burial crypt located next to Marilyn Monroe and Hugh Hefner is going to start at $50,000. Previous spots closer to the pair have sold for millions of dollars, and Hefner actually bought his spot next to Monroe for just $75,000 back in 1992. Other items related to the pair are going up for auction as well. An evening gown the actress wore in the 7-Year Itch. There's also a program ticket stub from President John F. Kennedy's birthday gala in 1962 when Monroe famously sang him happy birthday.
Sing it, Ashley. Sing it. Happy birthday, Mr. President.
That's Dylan, guys. That's not me.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a good day.